Well, we're now discovering it's a huge problem. I mean, we always knew about plastic bottles in the mangroves and on washing up on beaches, but now we understand there's plastics we can't even see that are infiltrating our waterways and the mud on the bottom. Fish are eating them, causing problems, and really it's a problem getting bigger and bigger. Macroplastics would be things like plastic drink bottles and plastic bags and bits of fishing line and things like that. You've probably heard that some animals foolishly mistake plastic bags for food. And the classic turtles, and they really do this. They eat jellyfish, and even I sometimes think I'm seeing a jellyfish approach underwater and it's a plastic bag. So they clog up animals' gills, they can block up the flow of rivers and things like that.
Each cleanup, I would say we can easily fill a whole ute out of plastics. Tides and currents and winds make the rubbish move constantly. So even if someone cleaned up the day before the same morning, we will still find a lot. Instead of getting single-use plastic bags when you go and do your groceries, bring your own bag, your reusable bag that you use over and over again.
Other states have phased out plastic bags in supermarkets. Why haven't we done so? Ask your politician, ask your local politician, so be a bit active. There's heaps of plastic bottles out there. They have got into current systems. Maybe if they've got the lid on, they're still like little buoyant things, and they'll find their way out for a long way. And in the case of bottles, they get right up into the mangroves in Sydney Harbour and can really choke things up.
The most plastic we find is plastic water bottles and food wraps. Because we are focusing on the beaches and the lagoons, it seems like a lot of people, they do maybe go and have a chocolate bar, they throw their wrapper or they drop it, and also people using single-use plastic bottles.
We've sort of outlawed ring pull cans, which we used to have, and they cause horrible difficulties when animals put their little necks in them or feet. Plastic rings from drink bottles are just as bad. The red and blue caps are quite attractive to a lot of animals. When they've done autopsies on fish, turtles, seabirds and that sort of thing, they've sometimes found these caps have obstructed the digestive system. So you can imagine that's a pretty quick and painful death. And also the toxicity of these bottle caps sometimes is a little bit high and the animal can actually be poisoned. It all sounds a little hopeless sometimes, and the risk is that people go, oh, it's too big the problem, I can't help. But in fact, of course you can. And you do things at a local level. Now, for one thing, don't buy plastics. Sydney, for instance, has some of the best drinking water on earth. It's better than the stuff you get out of drinking bottles. But what do people do? They spend a couple of bucks on a bottle of water. That's absolutely ridiculous. So not getting it in the first place is always the best.
No such thing as plastic that will disappear. It's on this planet in one form or another. Either it's been burned, so it's up in the atmosphere as smoke, or it breaks down to microplastics, which, plastic don't really break down, it breaks up to several pieces, and it goes in the ocean for a very long time.
Microplastics usually are less than 0.5 millimetre, I think, and they can be perfect spheres, proper micro beads that people are on purpose putting them into things like cosmetics to make them slipperier. Or they can be the breakdown products of, say, bottles and things that are broken down so far that they're then less than this 0.5 millimetre. When we buy our cosmetics, if we have to buy them at all, we look on the packet and look for microbeads, ignore them. There are others that don't have them and just